quick sound check. Will, I got your posts. I can't get into that now. It's too involved. We can talk about it later after the morning rush or whatever. But in short, TLT never hit my number. We talked about it last week and they bounced. And yeah, that could have been a low. It was basically double bottom. So in yields, it was double top, give or take. And it's possible. So we'll just leave it at that. Yep. No, I appreciate it. But we can certainly talk about it later. It's a good topic. Let me give you something first before we give you something second. Let me do this. I got to do it on this chart. ESU 2023. I want to show you something. All right. Look at the daily chart. Okay. Remember that convergence of moving averages I talked about in the video 2 times in a row this week in the SPY? Well, when you look at the SPY, all right, they're not there right now. They're at the 50 or wherever they are, the 50, give or take a little above it, but it's a different look. And I just want to show you that. Why? Because I've seen this routine before, and I'm not saying they're going to collapse just yet. Collapse is a tough word. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I've seen this one where they've already put in that high in the overnight session, the Globex session, and they never go back, and they start to correct a little bit. So it's just an awareness at this point. The numbers are the numbers. We have the numbers, and basically that's a good lead in. So let's get into it. I have a pivot zone. It's because 2 numbers are so close together, yet they're far enough apart where I can't call either one of them a pivot. So 444.65 is the lower portion, and 444.90 is the upper portion. It's not on the board. I can put it up there, I suppose. 444.90. And above that is really the further bull case or the bull case from where we are now. All right. And you can't see it yet. So below really opens the door, could be to the gap, could be to 443.55 first. That's a likely bounce place. If they're not going to fill the gap right away, that's the place. But that's also a zone between 443.55 and 443, which is the gap, give or take a few pennies, spike of it. And that's basically the story in the spiders. You got the NVIDIA pop. We know about that. And it gave, just from the way I'm looking at it right now, it gave the ES an opportunity to get into the convergence of that moving averages on the daily chart. And it's a little bit different than the spider, but it's an interesting scenario. It's kind of one of those, the thieves in the night, the thieves in the morning, the thieves in the aftermarket, whatever. They don't give you a chance in the regular session for those that are not trading futures that wanted to short up there for argument's sake. Okay, that's kind of where I'm coming from. We'll see. I mean, they're basically right there. I mean, they're now coming down. It's interesting. So if they pop them up, by the way, above 444.90, then, and this is squeezed together, it'll shape up when it opens. I don't know that they can get to the next number, so it's going to start to be a sell the rip type of situation for now. All right, we'll see. They're sitting right on it. Got about a minute to post time. We got some stocks on the move. I took Dollar Tree off the board only because I sensed that the risk changed based on what it did in the pre-market and where it went to. And I just said, you know what, I'm just going to take the high road and pull it. You want to do anything with it? That's totally a trader's choice. Yeah, excuse me. Is that a buy zone for a bounce? 443.55 to 443 is the risk. Okay, the risk is 441. That's doesn't mean they have to get there. It means they can get there. That's that breakout spot. So you just have to know that. Frankly, I'd rather have them pop up a little bit and short the market at this point. That's my preference. I need something better than that. Sorry about that, folks. It's just a skewed chart right now. Let's take a look at what's going on over at TJX. Not sure exactly what that was. Yeah, I don't remember that one. Just ignore that. So it was a sell the rip type of situation. They just couldn't get through 44.90 so far. Okay. Really wasn't interested in a short right at that number. Oh, that's why, because I didn't have it marked up on this chart. Okay. Thank you. I see it. Yep. So as long as they're below, the door's open for that 443.55. Yeah, I was muted. Sorry. So Boeing's come into its number. It's really the first number since it opened below the first. And Dollar Tree's bouncing at that. It's a spike of 130 essentially so far, but I just felt the risk had changed. So with the spiders, 443.55 is still the first opportunity between there and 443 for a bounce back in the other direction. Gerardo shorted up there. Yeah, that was a tough short. It was, it was the pivot. It was a tough short. They could have went either way, but they didn't. They went down. Well, I talked about that right when I got on, Jason. I showed the ES chart and I gave my whole synopsis there. And it seems to be kind of playing out right now. IWM was a non-participant in the bounce, even from last night. I was watching, and the transports are down. So that was an interesting scenario. Not that the IWM has anything to do with NVIDIA or tech. It has nothing to do with that. It's just, it was a little bit out of the ordinary that it just didn't get a lift along with the other stuff. Yeah, I did too. Well, I sold half and I sold half right at the open today based on that. Nice job. Bob V, you took a short up there. You got 7 points and a trailer. Nice job. Yeah, that was, anybody that did short up there was certainly self-induced. I didn't mention it. It was just too risky. It was a coin toss. Here comes 443.55, give or take. Nice job, Michael. Wow, great job. Michael shorted overnight, big position. Nice job. Gustavo was a short. Okay, so we had more than I thought, or more than I knew. How could I know? We had some shorts. Okay, that's right, Mika. 443.55 to 443. However, they came somewhat close and now they are bouncing. So it's, beginning to change a little bit. Not just yet, but just realize that the more they bounce, the less you're going to like 443.55, especially in a gap and crap situation. If that's what they're doing, that's a little bit of variable risk. Doesn't mean there's not a trade there. It's just a little bit added variable risk when you're in a gap and crap situation, especially when you've just gone up for 4 or 5 days. Nice job, Will. Took the AMD alternate NVIDIA earnings play. We talked about that yesterday. Nice job. Let's see what we got over here with stocks on the move. Yeah, see, this is why I didn't like Dollar Tree. Just something was telling me pull it. I can't really even articulate what it was. Boeing's hanging around. Armand booked 8 on an NVIDIA call spread. Well done. Well done. That's a big win. I didn't realize this was still up there. That was the alert. That was from the swing trade. So interesting. Okay. I don't want to get mesmerized over there. Look at the Qs. And this is whenever you're in a gap and crap situation, you have a level of variable risk that you need to realize. So regardless of whether or not they come down into the zone right now, it's still an opportunity. It's just an added notch of risk. Doesn't mean don't do it. It means added notch of risk. So you maybe keep a little tighter leash on it. And what does a tight leash mean? Well, you start getting below this low here and it opens a door for 442 and it's not that far away. And then 441 is much more important than 442. So it's added risk. Just telling you the way it is, the way I see it. Now, don't forget, there's an element of the trick, trap, fool, and frustrate crew. We still have the Jackson Hole boondoggle tomorrow. So is the market really going to collapse in front of the Jackson Hole boondoggle? Yeah, could be down, but is it really going to collapse in front of that? I don't know. It's just a thought. I'm just making you think. I don't have the answers. I have the thought process. So we had some more shorts in there I'm looking at. Nice job, Jeff. Let's see. I didn't take a look this morning. Was that on the watch list? Was TJX on the watch list this morning, or was it farther away than the watch list? It was. Well, so Scott, there's your answer. You did have time. Sorry. Got to call it the way I see it. That's why the watch list is there. Yeah, it's been there for, I haven't even watched. I look at the total list, and the watch list is just, I'm not paying attention to everything all the time. I can't. As long as it's working, it's working. I'm watching the open trades. I'm updating the stops and stuff like that. When it trades away, I'm putting a stop at break even. All right. So they're at the first place, 443.55. If they're not going to fill the gap and bounce first, this is the place they do it. Otherwise, they come down and fill the gap. That was the design. Nothing's changed. If they give you 444, at least a little bit in front of it even, you got to book the scalp. All right. Nice job, Gerardo. 2.1K, sold the trailer. It's nice to know the exit because that's the entry. Funny how that works. Nice job, Michael. Remember, support and or resistance has two phases. First order of business is they stop going in the direction they're going. That's in the process of happening as we speak at 443.55. Potentially, it's not guaranteed. It's just so far. And the second order of business is they either going to go sideways or bounce back in the other direction. If it's not support, they go to the next place, which in this case is 443. Just making sure everybody's on the same page. In front of 444 is an exit, even though it's a little bit less than the normal 5 to 7. I'm taking into account the tape, the gap and crap, the situation, the whole 9 yards, and I'm saying just keep it a little bit tighter. I just want to take a peek over here. Boeing's okay. I wasn't watching it. Well, not yet. Not yet. Close was here, but it's certainly a gap and crap in the making. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Okay. So traders should be, putting something in your pocket, soon, if not already. Okay. Nice job, Thomas. I'm not saying they can't go higher. I'm just saying you got to keep it real. Just a little bit different today than the absolute norm, only because of the gap and crap potential. NVIDIA, I'm just the whole thing. I'm just being a little bit on guard. Nice job, Raj. 820 booked. Well done. Nice hourly rate. John, 1184 in the pocket. Your pocket's a little heavier than it was about 10 minutes ago. 2 for 2 base hit, James. Nice job. We pile up the base hits. We take one at a time. And over the long term, this just works out. Okay, Mark. Brian got it twice, 7.25 points total. Nice job. Love the boondoggle word. Yeah, I love that word. Okay, that's a little bit. Now you should have booked a profit. All right, I'm calling the scalp done. There you go. There's 444. Okay, 4.5 points, 5 points. Come on. I'll be right back. Jack, well done. Dirk got Boeing and the spiders. Nice job. Let's go check in at Boeing. And Boeing basically is giving you the bounce. Okay, so they're giving you $1. You can get more, but that's good job. Well done. Now you don't let the trailer go bad on you. So let's see what kind of participation we had other than the ones that already told me, which I appreciate. Now this is also the one where they can still bounce around here for a while, stop you out. If you have a trade, if you have a stop in the system, you're going to get stopped out, all that stuff. And now, if you just say, all right, look, worst case is I got a base hit. If they come lower, I'm going to do it again. And that's the way you do it. I'll buy it down at 443. But for me, it'll be a second trade. It's not the same trade. It's not a continuation of the same trade. This trade's over if it, gets below your, like now. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. This is how we treat it as a business. 4 points, 3 points, 5 points. It's all good. It's fine. It's a base hit. They go back up. So what? Oh, and Gerardo took a short at 444. So you're out at 443.55. You have to be. That was another four points or so. You had to at least take in something. Now we know further what we said before. We know about 443.55. What do we know about it? It's important. Market told us that over the last 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. That's what the market told us. It's not me telling you, it's the market telling us. I told you ahead of time it was going to be important, but now the market reconfirmed it. Yeah, this is the one where they stop you out and they go right back up. I told you I was going to happen. It just always happens. It's just you can't risk it on a trailer. You have to book the base hit. If you bought it again down there, that's up to you. Meanwhile, I'll be back in like 30 seconds. All right. Yeah, good question. Any other numbers below in the Qs? Yeah, I just didn't put them on the board. Let me do it on my bigger, so I'll get you the next number. Hold on. That should do it for now. That's good for now. Sky never said a short was on the pivot. I'm sorry. No, I didn't say that. All right, so far, all it was a shakeout operation. And we don't know until we know, but so far, that's what it was. If they start getting above 444.90, that's the bull case for another run higher. Is the pivot a short? It's a coin toss. That's the question that somebody was just asking. I can't remember who it was. I just read the questions sometimes. That was Scott. Yeah, it's a coin toss. Let's take a look at the bigger picture for a second. That's not it. Okay. Here's the point. All right. You see this pivot here where they tried to climb the big breakdown candle and they really just got about halfway home and collapsed. Well, guess what? What do you call that? The place where they broke down from, right? So guess what? 444.35 will likely be some overhead resistance. So I'm going to put the number up there, 445.35. And so that was just a shakeout operation. And what we did was picked off low of day, even though they shook some folks out on the second go around. I get that. Now I'm a trader, Jorge. I just can't hold something if I think it's going to pull back. It's very difficult for me, you know, even on a longer term chart. So even though something may be in a long-term uptrend, if it gets into resistance, I can't hold it. Just can't do it. Be right back. Okay, so that was low of day. Who knew? All right, so if they can get above 444.90 and start closing candles up there, they should react at 445.35, give or take, but that doesn't mean they won't ultimately get to 446.35. This was a shakeout. It's a reversal. And you have to just call it what it is. If they're just running a test of the pivot, so be it, but I'm not shorting it. Job, Michael. Nice job. That's well done. Out of the short, now long, that's just great. That's all I can say. Yeah, Jorge, I can't, just to go back to that thing, that's why I've always been a swing trader. I've really never held anything long term, other than a handful of things like, you take a look at stuff like gold. I have gold in my IRA, like an ETF, but that's it. That's different than holding stocks for me. And that's not a secret. I've always said it's a long-term uptrend, long-term bull and gold, all that stuff. Said it ever since anybody knows me. Okay, so 445.35 is really the only place I have before 446.25. So even if you want to call that a zone where they should pull back from, you can do that if you're interested in a short up there. It's a reasonable thought process, unless they pull back too much first. Let's see if this will adjust at all now. I'm reading, Trevor. I appreciate that. That's pretty cool. Great job, Grant. Yeah, this was just, when you have the numbers, you have the numbers. What can I say? I'm glad we had a lot of participation. We had both longs and shorts, and more than once. And that's, again, I say it all the time, which is you take what I'm telling you and you design what you're comfortable doing around the numbers and around what I'm telling you. Not everybody is going to be comfortable in each and every trade for their own reasons. Some traders don't really love the shorts. Some traders would rather have a short. Some traders will take every one. Plus, I get that. If I say it's a pivot, there's traders in here that are willing to buy or short the pivot depending on which direction they're coming almost every time. And I get that too, because the pivot is generally correct. And this was essentially, I should have done this earlier, but I told you about it. We'll just make it a pivot. That's a terrible green, isn't it? But so be it. All right, so now 445.35 is off the table as a short. That was the trade. The trade is essentially right back to this spot. So that's it. All right, be right back. Updated the notes. Let me kind of give you the synopsis. It's basically the schematic for now. The pivot is 444.90 to 444.65. We know that. Above 445.35 is no longer a short in my book. They already gave the trade without getting there. Above 445.35 opens the door for 446.25. Doesn't mean they have to get there. It's just the door is open for them to get there while and if they're above 445.35. So right now they're in the pivot zone. They can hang out here for a while. Above is bull, below is bear. Below they can fall, and they can fall anywhere in between 444.65 and the lows for now, okay? There's really nothing in between. So that's the schematic at present. Plus 27 points today, Grant. That's fantastic. My goodness, half an hour. Let's check out the IWM. They had a bounce. I wasn't watching it. Wow. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Well, so be it. I had a nice trade out of it anyway from Will's information. Nice 2-day pop. Well, one day, yesterday, and I just still sold the remaining at profit anyway. So that was a nice trade, thanks to Will. And it wasn't just that information. There was other things that led me to say, hey, trade them up into the Jackson Hole boondoggle or through the Jackson Hole boondoggle. So that was really the trade. The fact that they did it yesterday was just a bonus. Did enough. Stand up double. Yeah, don't blame me, Grant. You're done for the day. Now it gets harder as they bounce around. The morning trade, which we already had, some of you had 2 or 3 of them. That was it. Now it gets harder. Not that there won't be another one, it just gets harder. That's right, Will. Thank you. You're exactly right. You provide the information, I do what I wanted with it. It was, what it was? It was almost like if I'm building a full stack of stuff without the charts, that was another brick in the stack, if you will. Yeah, now you're not buying the gap at this time. Well, you may be. I'm not. I'm not gonna. The gap is the spike the low, fill the gap, and rip it back up. But now the gap and crap variable risk is even a little more pronounced, in my opinion, than it was before. Now they had an opportunity to go up. They couldn't get through the pivot. Now they came back down for the second time in a gap and crap situation. I'm saying that's a little bit more of an enhanced variable risk factor. Shannon took the short at the pivot. Shannon, well done. Again, that was on your own. That's a 50-50. I get it. Lee took the short. I know a lot of traders took the short. What's going on over at TJX? How you doing? Not bad. Gerardo, 4.8, locked and loaded, or not loaded, locked in. Well done. All right. So now they're going to spike the low. Whether they fill the gap and rip it back or not, really, it's higher risk, but they do that. It is an opportunity. It's just a higher risk opportunity. 367.55 in the Qs is that place we just talked about. Just put it on the board. It's just the next important place. So with that coincides with the gap, that's possible. Any more than the Qs? Not really. They're all moving together. They're all doing the same thing. Yeah, that's why I'm talking that way, Will, right? Kind of the same thing. That's why you kind of say, all right, got one on the long side. You want another bite at that apple. I'm not so sure this is the place. It may be, but I'm telling you, it's got a little bit higher risk in my mind than normal. I'm just going to hold with what I said. 443 is a bounce place. It's trader's choice. Leave it at that. Yeah, I mean, isn't that a perfect recipe, Will? Yeah, we've seen this one before. Well, not this year, Dirk. You're learning. 442.97, I believe, is the actual number. That's what I've been talking about, Raj. Just, it's a 50-50 coin toss, a trader's choice. Will they bounce it at the gap? It's 50-50. I'm saying it's got higher risk. I've been saying it all morning long. The gap and crap has higher risk for buying the dips. Tell you what, I like 367.55 in the Qs better than I like the gap and the spider, if that means anything. Yeah, I just believe it is, Raj. That's all I'm saying. Whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know. I don't have the patent on being right, but I could just tell you what I think. And I would be remiss if I didn't say it that way. Well, 94 low. They filled the gap and they bounced. Anybody that took it, you got to book a scalp profit somewhere. Just make sure you put something in your pocket. You want to wait for more, that's fine. It's only 2 points, but me too, Will. So let me just further explain from where I sit, right? Remember how I always say, you have to be comfortable getting into a trade. It's got to be something that you're comfortable with. And what I'm really saying is I am uncomfortable with 443 at this point. On the first rundown, the zone was different, and I'm uncomfortable, and that's why I've been discussing it the way I have. That's really what it boils down to, based on all the things I discussed with the gap and crap and all that. Let's see what NVIDIA is doing now. So NVIDIA didn't go all the way. Okay, so they're bouncing it a little bit. We'll see what happens with that. Qs are at that place. You're out of it though, real right? AMD, I would imagine. Yeah, who cares if it falls after you're out of it? It's kind of funny when that happens anyway. Makes you feel better. You were right, 100% right. Rather than if it kept going and you say, oh no, I left money on the table, which we can't say, but that's just what happens. So it's better when it falls after you're out. Yeah, that's a good place right down there, Eric. I'm on that one. Yeah, I'm gonna put some numbers up on the board in the spiders. I'm gonna do it on my other screen. Just give me a moment. All right. They could bounce it at either 442 or 441, give or take. 441 is a better buy. I don't know if they'll get there. All right, Michael. See you tomorrow. Nice job. I'm okay with them bouncing it at the gap. Being, overly cautious is not a problem, right? It's just, this is not my trade. It's not a trade for me. So I don't ever feel like I missed anything because I was uncomfortable with it to begin with. Again, those traders that did buy the gap, make sure you take something in front of 443.50 if they get up there. So Boeing bounced $3. Just saying, look where they went to. Back to the first number they opened below. Didn't that tell you something? Boeing, nice bounce. Trevor got 40% in Boeing. Well done. Took the option. Boeing options are pretty liquid. That's fine. Oh, was it? Yeah, okay, never mind. I guess I was wrong. He says the spread was big, 10 cents. What was the price of the option that you took, just in dollars? Just give me the price. Oh, the option was 50 cents. Oh, you took a today expiration? Okay, never mind. Okay. I didn't even know they had a today expiration, to be honest with you. It's amazing what they've done with these options. They've changed the whole option business. It used to be, third week of the month, third Friday of the month, options expiration. That was it. Now all of a sudden it's a option frenzy. Tomorrow, yeah, okay. It makes more sense every Friday. I'm sure Boeing probably has options expiring every Friday. Yeah, okay. But some stuff has options every day. I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla does. I don't know. At least maybe another time during the week, maybe like a Wednesday. Will probably chime in. He knows. You can call 442 to 440.95, 440.90 a zone. They could bounce it at either place if they get down there. Yeah, Jorge's right. Even if you're right, sometimes you lose money because of the time and the decay and all that stuff. It's very tough. Yeah, I didn't like 443. I still don't. Shannon, holy smokes. Shannon's still short from the pivot. That's a whopper. That's a whopper. You may get a ride down to 441. It's possible. It's 365.15. I did it before. I just didn't put it on. They don't have to get there, but that is, well, not so much. This high is meaningful also. 366.50, 55, 56. Just put it at 55. That's the last line of defense before the lower stuff. This one. You could see that clearly. That's not magic. It's pretty good volume on that first reversal candle on the Qs. Will's bringing that up. Look at the hourly volume and look at that hourly reversal. That's a reversal, okay? And the hour closes in 3 or 4 minutes. Look at that volume. Look at it compared to all the rest. That tells you something right there. And this is what I've been saying. Beware of the gap and crap. It's not the same risk. It's higher risk. And what did I say this morning? It was sell the rip. They just never went high enough for me. You learn the tape. You kind of seen this before, all that stuff. Will and I were talking about it. I've seen this one before. The IWM not participating at all, even from a sympathy perspective last night and today, was another tell. We talked about that too. Chad's asking, I'm confused a bit on the thinking. We nailed the low. Well, we did nail the low until it came back down. And then the gap and crap. And I said, even before that happened, I said, beware the gap and crap. It's a higher risk situation. So I don't think it was confusing. Just saying. Nothing that I said was wrong. I'm not sure I understand. Yeah, Will brings up a good point. Will says, don't do stupid stuff in the morning versus the afternoon today. And that's what we've been saying. We're cautious. Said it from the jump. Look at that reversal in the Qs. I mean, you don't want to step in front of that. I mean, yeah, this is a breakout area. Does that mean they have to bounce there? No, I'm just giving you the next spot. That, you want to take that trade, that's up to you. Yeah, that's right. There is a gale warning. Flags are up. Big middle finger. That's right. That's what it is. I'm not a buyer of 442. I'm a buyer of 441. If they bounce at 442, so be it. That's trader's choice. You want to make a range of $1, that's totally up to you. They could bounce in between. That's the FU pattern, right, Mark? That's a reversal. There's just no two ways about it. 441.99. How you doing? Unbelievable. All right, if they bounce it at 442, that's fine. But if they come down to 441, even in a reasonable period of time, I'm a buyer. You want to buy them both? That's up to you. You want to buy 3 times, once in the middle? That's up to you. It's a zone. It's not just the 442. It was a number. The number was actually 441.99. That's why I said unbelievable when it first hit it and bounced. But it's a place. It's not just because it's 442. It's not out of the sky. I would never do that. I'm not just going to give you a dollar lower for the hell of a dollar lower. That's not ever what's going on. I'm going to be silent for a moment, looking at a couple of things. And so far, they came halfway home. Again, trader's choice, anywhere in here, 442 to 441, give or take. Shorted TJX in here. I'm just curious, who took it off the watch list and shorted it? Just want to get a sense. Be right back. Jeff J is listening. I just read your email. I don't even know what to say other than big time profit. This was not anything intraday. He's just explaining to me what he did, and it's fantastic. It's unbelievable. Big numbers. Basically took what I said about looking for a turn last Friday, right? And he stayed long through this morning. And the number's big, and it doesn't matter what it is. You can figure it out. You don't need to figure it out. You just think about it from last Friday. I save emails like that. All right, so they went halfway home. Anybody buying it down there, you got to book your base hits. It was close, Will. It wasn't that far off. Not all of them, Ron, but sometimes, yeah, it was bigger than some of them. I'm just going to say it. I don't give a hell. What's the difference? He made over 80K. It's unbelievable. It's not unbelievable, but it's unbelievable. Nice job, Scott. You shorted the pivot. SMH. Let's take a look. Reversal. Like 151.60, 151.50 is support, but you know, if everything bounces, likely going to bounce. Resistance is 153, and the problem is below 151.60 or so. You know, they can get down to 150 pretty quickly. Is there a shorting case? Yeah, you want to short the gap? It's worth a shot. They start closing above the gap, and you just cut and run. If you're interested, that's a question coming from Scott. Since it appears to be a strong reversal, is there a short if they bounce it, you know, on a continuation move? If this, you know, the problem is you can't say I'm going to short the gap and be short against this high because it's too far away. But you can short against the flat line. If they go back and test the gap from the underside, that's where your risk is. So you're shorting it at risk, meaning at the risk place. So if they start pushing above and closing candles above the gap and turn positive, you just say, all right, I'm going to cut and run. It didn't work. Or at least I'm not willing to find out how high it's going to go. Good question, Will. I don't know. When you find out, let me know, right? Was that a lower high with, you know, there's a long time left today. So this is not a reversal candle. But if it's a reversal candle at the end of the day and you have a lower high, we'll see. They ran a test of a breakdown candle high and pulled back. Funny how that works? Anybody? Yeah. Just trying to pick off bounces today is not easy. It's almost not worth it to try on days like today because they can crap out today. They can. They're failing. So who's to say where the failure is going to end? We don't know. Yeah, I think Apple came up short of my number. It was almost there in the pre-market, meaning the exit. Still an important place. A spike of 441 is still a reasonable bounce place. Scalp, just call it a scalp. You're looking for a scalp, and if they give you more, great. I said before, and I'll repeat it, and it still holds true. If you're interested in a scalp, they can bounce it at either 442 or 441 or both. And they bounced it a little bit at 442, and now here they come to 441, 440.95, 440.90, 440.85. That's the place. It's a spike of 441, 441, 440.85, 440.95. That's right. They'll put in a morning low somewhere. 25 points, Shannon, on the ride down. That's a nice sleigh ride, isn't it? Well done. That's just fantastic. I don't even know what to say again. I love hearing these fantastic wins that just, it doesn't even matter how many contracts. It's just 25 points. Doesn't matter what it was. It's 25 points. It's just spectacular. You never know which ones are going to give you the rocket ride or the sleigh ride. On the way, the rocket ride is on the way up. The sleigh ride is on the way down. Yeah, that's $5,000. Sorry, 2,500. My bad. That's fantastic. So you booked half of it. Never know. Has there ever been a time, hold on a second, where would it be wrong on a spike of 441? Well, I'll give you the next number down. Just give me a second. I got to figure it out. That's the next number down. Like it or not, that's what it is. Doesn't mean they have to get there. It means that's the next number below 440.95 from where I sit. You're welcome. Okay. The hole, it's impossible. The win rate on shorting them in the hole is like, I don't even know, it's low. Yeah, don't do it, Jack. I mean, who told you to do that? I mean, that's counter to everything we discuss. And I'm not meaning to yell at you, but I'm a little upset you did that. That's counter to everything we discussed or discuss every single day. That's chasing the market. I say it every day. That's not a good move. I mean, I don't know, you ask how to avoid that in the future. Well, you should never do that. Again, I'm not meaning to yell at you, but I want to drill it into you that you can't do that. The low is 441.08. They do that. It's okay. Don't worry about it, folks. Whatever Jack and I were discussing, it's private. Just leave it alone. Low was 26 against 15. Same thing here. They just came up pennies short. What can you say? What can you say? I'm going to be back in a few minutes. I'm going to stretch them out. Just give me 2 to 4 minutes. I'll be right back. And there's your come up short bounce. So that price is over. Anybody buy down there? I'm just curious. Okay. Listen, sometimes they come up short. Other times they spike them through. Can't say it enough. Happens all the time. Okay. Nothing wrong with it. I was locked and loaded. I was just waiting for them to spike 441. It's still the same number. It's not the same trade. Take it for what it is. You've heard me say that many times before. First time, best time. Doesn't mean the second time won't work, but it's not the same trade. Yeah, Eric, sometimes you have to do that. No, have to, but sometimes it pays to do it. Well done. It's $500. Nice trade. NVIDIA is at an important spot. Let's see. Not sure what makes that a spot, but okay, maybe. WBA. Yeah, see now that is, you don't want it the second time. You just don't. No, Alan, they bounced in front of it. That's why you didn't want it the second time, not the first time. Yeah, because they bounced a few pennies in front and they gave you the trade up here. Well, look at a 5-minute chart. You'll see it better. They came here. They made a low of 08. We talked about it at the time. I said, when they bounced up, I said, well, that's it. It's not the same number. It's the same number, but it's not the same trade anymore. That's what we said like 3 minutes ago. So you got a profit on the first one then. Okay, I thought you were saying something else. I'm glad you did if you did. Oh, Shannon, shame on you. I have to correct something. Shannon got 35 points, not 25 points on the ride down, on the sleigh ride. Well done. And Gerardo's up 15 grand. 14,905.65 to be exact on a short. How good is that? 439.70 is the new 441. Let's check in at TJX. Above 441 and a tail will probably be a decent low, potentially a morning low, if they start closing candles back above. 70 is the next place. That's the next bounce place. It's the new 441. They'll put in a morning low somewhere most likely and bounce. Even though yesterday there was more of a trend day, which is the unique thing, they did pause for a while. They went sideways and then they went up again. And that's kind of what we said. They'll put in some kind of a high and either go sideways or pull back. They never pulled back. Today, they'll find some kind of a low and do the same thing. They'll either bounce back or go sideways under most normal garden variety conditions. What day is the Fed thing happening? It's tomorrow. Jerome Powell's speech is tomorrow and Jackson Hole. Expect some volatility around that, I would suppose. Yeah, that's right. Chad's right. Trump phony arrest and mugshot. Actually, it's a real arrest. I mean, it's phony, but they're actually going to book him. Second time, right? He got booked in New York. Now he's getting booked in Georgia. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, just be careful when you're in a downdraft. The short was TJX. The longs, you got to be careful, and you're in the middle of a downdraft. So would a lot of other millions of other people, Mark. They don't care if he's in jail or not. Still going to vote for him. Living through an amazing time. Going to look back. I'm going to look back on this as this becomes a third world country, and you'll say, remember when, Biden went after Trump and put him in jail and all that stuff, and whatever happens. I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but, just it'll be in the history books for sure. Unprecedented. It's what they do in third world countries as a general rule. Look what just happened in Russia yesterday. And Putin knocked off whatever that guy's name was. Yeah, whoever that is. We never touched the WMA, the weekly moving average. Right, correct. And the spiders, we look at it every night, right? It's lurking. Well, that's your opinion, Chad. Everybody's entitled to their own. I would disagree. We probably have a different set of facts together. And that's fine, that's normal. I'm not going to argue about it. It's already there, Alan. The way the government operates, it's absolutely a third world country right now. You just don't realize it. You know, it's tongue in cheek. I mean, I'm not saying exactly the same. I'm just saying it's a banana republic when they start doing this kind of stuff. You know, when you just compare the notes of what's actually happening on one side and the other side, and it's a lopsided system, that's a banana republic. I don't care what anybody says. Just look at the facts. If you don't want to see the facts, that's your choice. Yeah, we've been saying that for a long time. The dollar is going to get crushed eventually. The countries are going to start delinking. Dollar's not going to be the world's reserve currency, and that's the end. That's the beginning of the end, or the middle of the end, or the end. One of the two. One of the three. Doesn't matter which one. Correct, Alan. It's tongue in cheek when I say that, but you get the point. No, I don't, but I love the term smash mouth for SMH. That's funny, Sean. Start them early. Yeah, Mark's got a good point. Chad, flip it around and say, imagine if Trump went after Obama. How would that look? You're gonna tell me you investigate anybody, any president of the United States you investigate, you're going to find stuff. I don't care what you say. Anybody. You don't get there by not knowing how to sidestep a few landmines. Yeah, it's just the lopsided. That's the whole thing. It's just ridiculous. It's hard to watch. Everybody pretends it's not happening. You're bringing up stuff that's not relevant, Chad, not to the discussion. You're reaching. I know, you know, I get it. I know what side, I know what you're watching. I know what you're thinking. You're just on the other side. It's fine. You're allowed to be. Yeah, but they don't do that. That's why this is unprecedented. It's ridiculous. There's certain things you do and there's certain things you don't do. You don't do that. You don't go after a predecessor or a running, you know, a candidate. Win on the merits. And if you can't win on the merits, you shouldn't win. I don't think you should be allowed to hammer each other. I think it's ridiculous. All those commercials, they're stupid. If you can't win on the merits, then you shouldn't win. Yeah, it always does. That's why I hate it. Yeah, I hate the politics. I hate the discussion because I'm not saying anybody shouldn't believe what they want to believe. They should. But it gets to a ridiculous conversation because you're never going to convince the other side, no matter which side you're on, of any of your facts, right? You have your own facts. Everybody has their own facts. Nobody decides whose facts are right. There's no referee. It's impossible. Well, I don't know about that, Luis. I mean, you can't say that yet. Q's found the bottom. You can't say that yet. It's too soon. What makes that a bottom? Yet. Could have said that up here. Be careful with that one. Unfortunately, with these clowns, the truth doesn't really matter. They don't give a hoot because they know who are you going to complain to? They know they're only talking to the people that believe them. They don't care what you think. They don't care what I think. They don't care what the other side thinks. They just say what they want. And that's the problem. They should get fined for lying. $10,000 an instance. They stop lying. What does that mean, Amit? A 50-day reversal. I'm not sure what that means. Well, we're not waiting. I mean, it's going to do what it's going to do, Jack. I'm saying that 439.70 would be a bounce place. If they don't get there and they get back above 441, then that'll be a bull case for a further bounce. The gap down here, Luis, right here. What's that number? 37. That's just a gap. This candle that they've already basically tested is no man's land before the gap. That's the way we look at that one. Still waiting on that one to meet. I don't know what a 50-day reversal is. Help me out with that. So I can't tell you whether it is or isn't because I don't know what it is. Never heard of it. I'll be right back. 30 seconds. Mark, bottom line is the bigger time frame is dominant to the 5-minute chart. So I can't look at a 5-minute chart and draw any conclusions from this one way or the other because I'm looking at the hourly chart, and this is why I kept jumping back and forth while I was on mute. And I'm saying the bigger picture is they're crapping out. So it's the lower the time frame, the less really important that it is. You have to look at the bigger stuff on a day like today. You got to say, what's actually happening? Where's the next number? Well, my next number is 439.70. That's the only thing I'm interested in right now on the long side. If I was looking for a scalp, 439.70. Yeah, that would be different. Maybe different. You know, carving out a low of that. So Mark's asking, would it be different on a bigger time frame? Well, let's look at it objectively, and let's say this. Okay, you say this, and let's say that that was an hourly chart. All right, an hourly chart, I would say, well, they found support Now they're beginning to build a bearish pattern, and it's been hours, so they can't get up and go. Therefore, the likelihood is they're going to fall. But as long as they hold this low, they have a chance because they've been here for hours. So it works both ways on the bearish pattern, meaning at some point at a low on a chart, and not that this is a big time low, but it's a low for now, then the bearish pattern will eventually fail and they'll bounce. But for when you're hanging out for 3 or 4 hours, that's one thing. If you're hanging out for 20 minutes, that's something different, especially when I see this. That's the way I look at that. You're welcome. It's an art form. It's not that I'm right all the time. It's the way I look at it. And I can only tell you the way I look at it. And it's not that it's different or the same every time. It's what the chart's telling me. And in a 5-minute chart, I'm looking at this saying, well, I can't get this out of my head. You know, okay, maybe they're into this 20-period moving average on the hourly chart, and maybe that'll hold it. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I look at this and say, look, they're in the middle of a crap out. There's no guarantee that they're going to bounce anywhere for number one. Number two, I have to have an important place, and it happens to be lower. It's just the way I look at it. Your larger time frames on the chart and also the moving averages, everything about it is always going to take precedent. It's going to be the dominant thing to any lower time frame. Doesn't mean that the lower time frame can't be doing something counter to the bigger, and it does all the time. That's what trades are made from. You know, trades are made when things match up, and when you're getting, you know, a bigger time frame comes into support, and you can get a bounce on a shorter time frame, and that's where all this comes from. You just got to take into consideration the tape today. Said it from the jump. Beware of the gapping crap. Will was talking about it. I was talking about it. We were talking about it. John's asking, if they go to 439.70, aren't they likely to get into the gap just below there? Well, let me ask you this, okay? Let's go back to this morning. I'll help you answer the question by doing this. This is the same thing, right? They came down to my number. It had nothing to do with anything other than my number. And the gap was down here, and it's the same thing you're asking. So I'll let you answer that. Look at that bounce off my number before the gap. You're welcome. Sometimes it's better if we just see an exact example, almost exact, that already happened like an hour ago. You know, so it's an hour and a half, whatever it is. Oh, sure, it could be, Namit. Now I got you. Okay, so we talked about this last night, and I said this area is overhead resistance, whether they get through the 50 into the 20, the convergence of these moving averages, that was the place. So the question is, can this just be a rejection of the moving average and they continue up? And the answer is they can, but that's not the look today, okay? Because this is more than just a pullback from the 50. This is a rejection. So there's a difference between a pullback and a rejection. But we have to see the close. If they close back above yesterday's high, guess what? That's bullish. Even though it would be a down day from the open, that was bullish, because that would be a recovery to close above yesterday's high. So it depends on what happens. So we don't know. Is that the likely or unlikely case today? Well, at this point, it's unlikely. TJX, Gerardo bought TJX puts, 32% profit and keeping a trailer. Well, that's the way to do it. Doesn't have to get to target. When you do that and you have a big gain right away, you take it off the table, or at least some of it. Absolutely. 100% of the time. 100% of the time. Nice job. Nice dollar pullback. Yes, Gerardo. $800 on that one. That's nice. All right. We're going to begin wrapping up the morning session here. What I'm going to do today, because of the type of tape it is, I will keep it open till 12:15. It's one of those days. And then we'll come back at 12:15 and we'll see what's going on. But for now, we'll do the last call for now, last call for alcohol, and then we'll come back in a half hour or so, 45 minutes from now. Andy wants to look at Abercrombie. Not much you could do with that one. Nothing you could do here. Nah. I mean, you get below here where they've already run a test and it opens the door all the way down to here, but there's nothing to do here. 10 and 15 minute on time at 382. Oh, at 382 retrace. Could it be? You talking about this? Maybe. Chad's saying it's a on-time situation into a 382 retrace from this low to this high. That's where they are now. And he's right. Will it work? I don't know. It could. I like 439.70 though. Relative strength, or I should say relative weakness in the IWM. on a percentage basis today. Look at that. So think about what I talk about all the time, and then think about what they did. They filled the gap, spiked the high, hit a number, and pulled back. Collapse, pull back, whatever you want to say. But that's really what happened, and we talk about it all the time. Spike the high, spike the low, hit a number, rip it back or down in the other direction. We do that all the time. And I'm just saying that's what happened. Again, so all charts act and react the same way. 439.70 is still my number. 439.65, 439.62, 68. Stick around for a few minutes to see if they do it. I'm still here, just waiting a couple of minutes to see if they do it. I'll give it another 5 minutes. And this one is wrong below this low, 439.10. That's where it's wrong, because that opens the door down to 438. 50 points, Shannon, still with a trailer. Oh, out of the trailer. Okay, 50 points total. Shoosh. That's a whopper. That's a whopper. That's not every day. That's not every week. That's not even every month that you get 50 points on a trade. Mark said, golf clap. Very good. The closer they get, the more magnetic it is. Again, they've been coming up short today and bouncing. 439.70, 439.65, you know, give or take pennies here and there is the place. Just waiting, patience. They bounce away, they bounce away. If they hit it, spike it, it's a scalp opportunity. Scalp with potential. There it is. Low is 67. Okay. Traders that took the trade, you book a profit, you know, keep it tight. You want to wait for 5 points, that's okay. You want to book it before that, that's okay. Just make sure that you put a base hit in your pocket, okay? Jeff got 4 points. They gave you 4 already? 440.09, close enough. Tim says it's the quickest 300 bucks he made this week. Right, what did that take, about 3 seconds? All right, I got a couple things to do. I'm around, just keep it tight, take your base hit. You know where it's wrong, 439.10, below that, it starts to open the door to the gap. Be back at 12:15. Don't do anything stupid. I'll be back. All right, I'm back. Wait for that to happen, but I was a buyer at 439.70, went a little bit lower. That's okay, they went to the place, right? They went to the next place. That was the gateway to the next place. They went right to the brink. Where was the brink? They went right to the no man's land that we talked about before and bounced. So I know some of you took it, you put in the notes or you put in the comments. I was reading it, I got it, I was here, did a couple of things, was watching it. Nice job, Jeff. Nice job, Shannon. And yes, I have a trailer too. I'm gonna take it off because I don't want to sit around and watch it. Taking it off around 20 and change, 40, 20, and I think it's 40, 20, 50 is my order. Doesn't mean they can't go higher, I'm just telling you. Anybody have any questions, comments, complaints? On the move lower, Scott? Well, you knew the next place. So 439.10 was the next place, and 439.11 is where they spiked it to. That's, I'm not sure I can call that suffering, but I get it. Nice job, Lee. 2K on the day. Well done. Yeah, good time to close the store, Dirk. I agree. We're closing it. The meat got a base hit off 439.70. You're welcome, Tim. Good job, Sean. What's a good platform to trade futures on? You know what, Alan? I can't. That's not really my bailiwick. I just have one brokerage account, and I trade everything through that one brokerage account. So you really have to look around. They're all the same. Just go with a name you know. Don't go with an off the beaten track name that has 2 guys in a room somewhere running a show and out of the Cayman Islands. They're all the same. Interactive Brokers, TradeStation, you know, the list goes on. There's just tons. Nick bought the NQ. Nice job. You're welcome, Jeff. I don't even know if they can get to 441. Honestly, I have no idea whether they'll get there. I don't want to say they will. I told you what I'm doing. I got a trailer and I'm not going to let it go bad. And if they give me 44, 20, 50, 44, 20, 50, I'm going to take the rest off and I'm going to walk away and I'll come back at 4 o'clock. Gerardo, $16,156.35 profit. He actually sent it to me, so it's like verified. Well done, Gerardo. Fantastic. Ninja Trader has lowest margin requirement. I'm not sure it's the lowest, but it's probably good. You're welcome, Ben, Alan, TJX Foley. Yep. A little bit. They were down $1 last time we looked. Now they're down $1.25. Not even. It's good. That's what's supposed to happen. You know, you get a short trade. Look, you get an alert for a short trade and the market rolls over, you're going to get paid. You get an alert for a long trade at the same time the market's finding a bottom, you're going to get paid most of the time. If you're taking a long trade while the market's rolling over, you know, it's going to struggle. That's just the way it works. That's the way the market works. What else we got? Anything? Nice bounce in the Qs at the gap. Had some takers down there. Okay, I'm going to get filled here in a second, hopefully, unless they screw me over because I said something. We know how that works. It's called the mush, self-mush. One tick away. Unreal. Come on. I mean, I'm front running a number, so all I'm looking at is, I was in front of this. There it is. That's done. I was just in front of this breakdown candle high. That's it. That's all it was. Okay, so that's it. Not bad. Anything else? Questions, comments, complaints? Miller time. Not Bud Light time. Miller time. It was never Bud Light time. It was always Miller time. The hourly Q candle from this morning. That's a reversal on volume. Look at that. Look at the type of volume and see when the last time it had volume, an hourly candle had volume like that. How far do you have to go back? Right here. Right here. Okay. So you got to go back to May 30th for an hourly candle with volume like that. And that's why it's a reversal. It's a gap and crap reversal candle on volume. If you open up any trading manual / textbook, it's going to tell you those are the characteristics of a reversal. Now, they find a low, they fill a gap, they retrace a portion of the move from this morning. That's all normal garden variety stuff. It doesn't change the fact that that's a big time reversal candle on an hourly chart. Now, what's going to happen by the end of the day? We don't know. What happens if they rally, you know, up to 368 today? Well, then you just have a gap and crap and they finish where they finish and you're not going to really make anything of it. But what if they finish at the lows on volume on the daily chart? Well, that's just like the hourly chart, and only it's a bigger time frame, which means it has more meaning. It has more precedent. Does that answer to me? Yeah. Okay. That's why. These are all charts act and react the same way. That's in the course, Lazy E-mini Trader. That kind of stuff is absolutely in that course. Have you taken it? If you have, great. If you haven't, I'm not telling you to take it. I'm just telling you where the information is. And if you have taken it and you didn't know that, go back and take it again. You can watch it as many times as you want. Last call for alcohol, last call for questions, comments, complaints. I'm going to wrap it for the day now. It's an interesting morning. I think we had a lot of traders make a lot of money today. I think we had a couple of traders struggle today. I think a lot of the commentary for a few traders today with the type of tape it was, the gap and crap and the repeated, hey, this is higher risk, all that stuff. I'm not sure everybody took that to heart. Maybe use it as a lesson learned if you're in that camp. That was, you know, what Will and I were talking about early, back and forth about, we've seen this before. Well, this is the result, what we've seen before. We kind of saw this coming. Very hard to hop on board on the short side. Some of you shorted the pivot up there early this morning and got a huge sleigh ride down. Shannon for one, a few others. I think Gerardo might have been down there on the short side also. Let's see. So the SPY found the bottom right now, Luis is saying. For now, yeah. Below the low opens the door for the gap down at 438.11. That's just the next progression of events. That's simple. Okay, Brent, thank you for that. And there he is. How high do I think the spiders will go back up today? The referral from Brent Troy is asking. I don't do that, Troy. You're new, welcome aboard. That's not something anybody can answer, so we don't even try. We just take it one number at a time, one progression of events at a time. We're in the midst of a gap and crap type day. They're going to bounce back, but 25% of it, 35% of it, 50% of it, we don't know. So I don't pretend to I don't pretend to know. I don't say, well, they'll probably get to 441.78. I'm not going to do that. The easy part of the day is generally there is no easy part of the day. Let me correct that. The best trading part of the day is the first 90 minutes, within the first 90 minutes, sometimes the first hour. After that, it gets real difficult. We don't trade after that for the most part. We don't do stupid stuff in the afternoon. I'm going to wrap it up here in a few minutes. The afternoon is not the same as the morning. And I urge you to just kind of hang out and watch and listen for a while. You're on a trial. You don't have to do anything. Just listen, see if this is for you. Welcome aboard. You're welcome. And believe me, what I just told you, I tell everybody the same thing. If they ever ask a question like that, I'm only doing everything I say is to help you. That goes for everybody. You know that. Most everybody in here knows that. New people will learn that. Sometimes I yell at you. I yelled at Jack earlier. Why? Because he did something stupid. Jack's not stupid. He did something stupid, and we're going to correct it. He's not going to do it again. But I yelled at him. But I'm not yelling to be mean. I'm yelling to drill it into his head not to do it again, because I care. I don't want anybody to do stuff like that. And we've all done it. He was chasing the tape. Just leave it at that. It doesn't matter what it was. We don't do it. We sell resistance. We buy support. We have numbers. We look at variable risk. Today, what was the variable risk? Remember this? I said this gap is variable risk. I said it's variable risk you don't need, especially on a second time around. Anybody remember that? Yeah, you betcha. It's all on videotape. I'm going to post this video. I'm going to post this whole thing on YouTube. So I think it's important. Everything we talked through today and what happened, I think it's very important. You got to know how to read the tape. You as an individual, each of you don't necessarily have to know how to read the tape every single day. You'll learn over time listening to me, but I'm not going to be right 100% of the time, and I don't have the patent on being right, but I know how to read the tape most of the time. It doesn't mean you hop on the short side because that's a recipe to get whipped out like that first trade, right? The first buy was at 443.55. Okay, we got a huge rip back up to the pivot. Some traders shorted that. The second time around, that was where that high risk thing came in. That was the undue risk. That was the variable risk. And I mentioned before the market opened and said that. I said it's a sell the rip kind of market. I did. Thanks, Gerardo. I did say that. You're right. I was just looking for them to go a little higher. Remember, I had this one, my first short, was going to be up here. They never got there. Look at it now. Look at me now, holding a bag full of nothing other than the trade from here to here, which was between you, me, and the lamppost, $500, you know. I don't want to turn my nose up at $500, but it would have been a whole lot different than this one. Okay, that's my cue. I actually have to speak to the developer in a few minutes. We have a scheduled call. So with that being said, don't do stupid stuff in the afternoon. They're going to float around. It's a slow time. It's lunchtime. Just walk away. Walk away. If you didn't get your pound of flesh in the morning, walk away. If you did get your pound of flesh in the morning, walk away. We'll be back tomorrow in uniform, ready to go. Appreciate everybody very much. You all know that. Appreciate the fact that you're here and that you entrust in what we're doing here. Enjoy the rest of the day. Don't do stupid stuff, and we'll see you tomorrow. Or we'll see you in the video tonight, and then we'll be back tomorrow in uniform, ready to go. Okay. XLF? What am I looking at, Will? I don't think did you post something in X? I didn't see it. I don't know what you're referring to. See that XLF info. Did you post something that I missed? It's possible. Oh, you're talking about oh, okay. And now I scrolled up. I see it now. Interesting. Let me repeat this, what Will put in here. Just do with what you want. They don't have to do anything. Will put it in here, so it's for everybody's benefit. He's kind enough to do that. XLF bullish call buying today, 32,000, 25 August. That's tomorrow expiration. 34.50s. XLF is 34 now. Mostly bought for 4 cents to 10 cents above open interest. 796 contracts, stock 34. That's a gamble, but we've seen weird things happen. What did they do? Pull the market back, sell before the news, buy the rumor, sell the rumor. Who knows what they're doing? But thank you, Will, for putting that in. They're 3 cents now. You know what it is? For anybody interested, it's a lottery ticket. We've done this before. We talked about it before. It's a lottery ticket. A couple hundred contracts, whatever it is, it's a lottery ticket. 3 cents. Yeah, should be interesting. You never know. All right, folks, that's it. That's my cue. I'm out. Appreciate everybody. We're back tomorrow in uniform, ready to go. Don't do stupid stuff. Enjoy the rest of the day. That's a mouthful. See you later. Appreciate you.